It's actually a bit shocking when you hear it, but some research suggests over 40% of people over 60 might be taking the wrong vitamins, or maybe none at all.
It's a huge number.
Yeah. Think about that for a second. If you're in that age group, you've probably been down that supplement aisle, right? Staring at all the bottles.
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe getting advice from friends, different doctors even, and just feeling totally lost.
It really is like a maze out there. Everyone seems to have an opinion, but figuring out what's actually backed by solid science, that's tough.
Exactly. And, well, that's what we want to try and untangle for you today.
Our goal is pretty simple, really. We want to give you clear information about which vitamins genuinely matter as we get older.
Right, the ones we often miss.
Yeah, the ones we often miss, and let's be honest, the ones that might just be a waste of money, or maybe even cause problems if you're taking them without knowing why.
Precisely. We want to help you make smarter choices for your health. And look, if getting clear, straightforward info like this on, staying healthy as you age is important to you.
Which we hope it is.
Yeah. A quick tap of that subscribe button right now means you won't miss out on our future deep dives.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get right into it. What's one of the absolute must-haves, especially as we get older? Maybe start with the vitamin B12.
Vitamin B12 is definitely a key player, yeah. Especially as we age. The main reason is, well, our bodies change a bit.
Okay.
And one of those changes is we tend to produce less stomach acid. Now, that stomach acid is actually what helps us absorb B12 from foods like, meat, eggs, dairy.
Oh, okay. So even if you eat those foods.
Exactly. Even if you're eating a perfectly balanced diet with plenty of those B12-rich foods, your body might just not be pulling enough B12 out of them because of that lower acid level.
So it's not just about what you eat, it's what your body can actually use.
Yeah.
And the effects of not having enough B12, they can be pretty significant, right? It's more than just feeling a little tired.
Yeah. Oh, much more. Low B12 can definitely lead to that persistent tiredness, and that kind of brain fog feeling where it's hard to concentrate. But it can also cause things like numbness or tingling, usually in your hands and feet. It can make you unsteady on your feet, poor balance,
Yeah.
and even affect your memory in ways that can sometimes mimic the early stages of dementia. And the really serious part is long-term deficiency can actually damage your nerves, and that damage isn't always reversible.
That's a real wake-up call. It sounds like this is something a lot of people might be dealing with and not even realize it.
It is more common than you might think. The National Institutes of Health, they estimate that up to maybe 20% of adults over 60 could have at least a mild B12 deficiency.
80%.
Yeah. And the tricky part is the symptoms can creep up so slowly, it's easy to just brush them off as, I'm just getting older.
Right.
Yeah.
So what can you do? What should people look for to make sure they're getting enough or absorbing it properly?
Well, the type of B12 you take can make a difference. Look for something called methylcobalamin, methyl cobalamin.
Okay, methylcobalamin.
Yeah. That form is generally absorbed better, especially for those of us with maybe less stomach acid. You often find it in sublingual tablets, the ones that dissolve under your tongue.
So it bypasses the stomach then.
Exactly. It gets absorbed directly into your bloodstream, which is really helpful.
That makes a lot of sense. So even if your senior multivitamin says it has B12, it's worth checking which form it is.
Absolutely. Check that label for methylcobalamin. And also, take a look at the dose, because absorption can be such an issue. Many doctors now suggest that people over 60 really think about taking a separate B12 supplement, even if they feel they eat pretty well.
Okay.
And honestly, the best first step is always a simple blood test. It tells you exactly what your B12 levels are. Talk to your doctor about it. Takes out all the guesswork.
Good advice. Okay, B12 is definitely one to watch. Now let's shift to another vitamin most of us have heard about, but maybe we don't fully grasp how vital it is as we age. Vitamin D.
Vitamin D. Yes, a big one. And you're right. Most people immediately think strong bones.
Right. Calcium absorption.
Exactly. And that's true. It's vital for helping your body absorb calcium for bone health.
Yeah.
But especially for seniors, the benefits of vitamin D go way beyond just bones.
Oh, really? Like what else?
Well, it plays a really significant role in supporting your immune system. It can impact your mood. And it's even important for keeping your muscles strong.
Muscle strength, too. Interesting.
Yeah. In fact, research from places like Harvard, the Mayo Clinic, they've linked low vitamin D levels in older adults, not just to a higher risk of falls and fractures, but also to a greater chance of experiencing depression and having a weaker immune system overall. So it's kind of a triple threat helper for seniors. Immunity, mood, muscle strength. all key for staying active and independent.
That's a much broader impact than I realized. So why are older adults more likely to be low in vitamin D?
Well, there are a few reasons. As we get older, our skin just isn't as efficient at making vitamin D when sunlight hits it.
Okay.
So even if you spend some time outdoors, you might not be producing enough. Plus, the CDC estimates that nearly half, almost 50% of adults over 65 have insufficient levels.
Wow, half.
And again, many don't even know it.
And the signs aren't always obvious, are they? Like B12.
Exactly. The symptoms can be quite subtle, just feeling tired all the time, maybe some changes in your mood, muscle weakness you might dismiss, sometimes even joint pain you might just think is arthritis setting in.
Makes it easy to miss. So how should seniors think about getting enough vitamin D? Because I know you mentioned people can sometimes go wrong here.
Yes, there are a couple of common mistakes. Some people just rely on the, frankly, small amount of vitamin D that's often in a standard multivitamin. Usually not enough.
Right.
On the flip side, some people take really high doses without ever actually checking their blood levels first.
Okay, so what's a good approach?
Well, for most adults over 60, a daily intake somewhere in the range of 800 to 2,000 international units, or IU, is generally a good starting point.
800 to 2,000 IU.
Right. But, if you don't get much sun or you have darker skin or other risk factors, you might need more. It's always best to get your levels checked by your doctor. They can tell you the right amount specifically for you.
And the type of vitamin D matters too, doesn't it? Like with B12.
Absolutely. Look for vitamin D3. That's also called cholecalciferol.
D3, got it.
That's the form your body absorbs and uses most effectively. And here's a practical tip. Vitamin D is fat soluble. Meaning your body absorbs it best when there's some fat present. So try taking your vitamin D supplement with a meal that contains some healthy fats, maybe some avocado, olive oil, nuts, even eggs. That simple step can really help boost absorption.
Okay, good tip. So vitamin D, crucial for more than just bones. Get the right form, D3, the right dose after maybe checking with your doctor, and take it with a bit of fat.
Okay.
Makes sense. Now, there's another nutrient you flagged as really important, especially if seniors are feeling tired a lot. Magnesium. Tell us about that one.
Magnesium. It's truly an unsung hero, I think, when it comes to health as we get older.
Underrated.
Definitely. It doesn't always get the spotlight like calcium or vitamin D, but magnesium is involved in over 300 different reactions in your body.
300? Wow. Like what?
Oh, basic things like your muscles contracting properly, your heart beating regularly, even keeping your blood sugar levels stable. Magnesium plays a vital role in all of that. You could almost think of it like the body's essential lubricant a little bit, helps hundreds of vital processes run smoothly.
That's a great way to put it. So why is it that older adults often don't get enough?
Well, there's several factors. First, dietary habits can shift. Many seniors might eat fewer magnesium-rich foods, things like leafy green vegetables, nuts, seeds, beans. Second, some common medications that older adults take can actually deplete magnesium levels over time. Things like diuretics or water pills, some antacids, certain blood pressure drugs.
Really? Medications can lower it?
Yes, they can interfere with absorption or increase excretion. And finally, just the aging process itself. Our body's ability to absorb magnesium from our diet and hold on to it can decrease a bit as we get older.
And what are some of the signs someone might be low in magnesium?
The symptoms can be quite varied, but some common ones include muscle cramps or spasms, those annoying leg cramps at night.
Oh, yeah.
That can be a sign. Also, an irregular heartbeat, feeling tired or fatigued a lot, sometimes even feeling more anxious than usual or having trouble sleeping.
Sleep problems, too.
Yes. And one subtle clue people sometimes miss is waking up with twitching in their toes or legs. That can often point towards low magnesium.
Interesting. Now, I've seen a lot of different kinds of magnesium supplements. Does the type matter, like with D and B12?
It absolutely matters a lot. Magnesium comes bound to different things, and how well your body absorbs it can vary significantly. Some forms, like magnesium oxide, are common and cheap, but they aren't absorbed very well and can often cause digestive upset, like diarrhea.
Okay. Good to know.
It's generally better to choose forms that your body can utilize more easily and that are gentler on the stomach. Things like magnesium glycinate, magnesium citrate, or magnesium malate are usually much better options.
Glycinate, citrate, malate.
Right. If someone's tried magnesium before and felt it didn't help or maybe even made them feel unwell, it might just have been the wrong form.
So what's a general amount of magnesium that seniors might benefit from, assuming they choose a good form?
For most seniors, a daily intake somewhere in the range of 200 to 400 milligrams can be helpful.
200 to 400 milligram.
Yeah. But again, everyone's needs are a bit different. It depends on your diet, what medications you're taking, how well your kidneys are working. So, just like the others, it's always a good idea to chat with your doctor, discuss your symptoms, your current routine, and figure out the right dose and the best form of magnesium for you. Sometimes fixing a magnesium shortfall can make a noticeable difference in sleep, muscle comfort, energy. But it's important to do it smartly.
Okay, so B12, vitamin D, magnesium, 3 really key nutrients to be aware of. Now, let's tackle something really common. Those multivitamins, specifically marketed for seniors, are they the easy one-stop solution they seem to be?
That's a really great question. And the honest truth is, the idea that a single senior multivitamin is the perfect answer for everyone, it's mostly a myth.
A myth, okay.
Yeah, I mean, you walk down the pharmacy aisle, see the senior formula bottles, and it seems so convenient, right? Cover all your bases with one pill.
Exactly.
But the reality is often more complex than that.
How so? What are the potential downsides of just relying on a senior multivitamin?
Well, the main issue is that most multivitamins, even the ones designed for seniors, tend to have a little bit of everything, but often not enough of the specific nutrients that older adults frequently need in larger amounts.
Okay. Like what?
Like, a multi might give you plenty of vitamin C, which is fine, but only a small amount of vitamin D, which we just said many seniors are low in.
Right.
They might include magnesium, but often it's that magnesium oxide form, the one that's poorly absorbed.
Gotcha.
And many still use calcium carbonate, which can be harder for older adults to digest, might cause constipation for some. So you could be faithfully taking your multivitamin every day and still have significant gaps in the nutrients you really need.
So you might think you're covered, but you're actually not getting enough of the important stuff.
Precisely. And some seniors fall into that safety net trap. They take their daily pill and assume, okay, I'm good.
Yeah.
This can lead to what you might call nutrient blind spots because they stop focusing on getting enough of the specific vitamins and minerals they might actually be low in, like B12 or D.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any situations where a multivitamin is helpful then?
Oh, sure. Some experts do say they can be beneficial in certain cases, especially for seniors who maybe have a poor appetite or are on very restricted diets or have specific health conditions that impair nutrient absorption.
Okay.
But for many generally healthy seniors who eat reasonably well, a more targeted approach focusing on the nutrients they're most likely to need more of is often more effective and potentially safer.
And we talked earlier about how our ability to absorb nutrients changes with age. How does that play into multivitamins?
That's a critical point. As we get older, things change. Less stomach acid affects B12, yes, but also our liver and kidneys might process nutrients differently.
Right.
Some of the synthetic forms of vitamins commonly found in cheaper multivitamins might not be converted or absorbed as well by an older adult system. They might just pass right through without doing much good.
So the form matters hugely here too.
Yes. This is why some doctors are now recommending looking more closely at those methylated B vitamins we mentioned, vitamin D3, chelated minerals, where the mineral is bound to an amino acid to help absorption, or even liquid or sublingual forms of things like B12, iron, magnesium, because they're often more readily absorbed.
So the bottom line with senior multis isn't necessarily that they're bad, but they shouldn't be seen as the automatic complete answer.
Exactly. A multivitamin can be part of a healthy plan, potentially, but it shouldn't be the whole plan. If you're eating a really well-rounded diet, lots of fruits, veggies, healthy fats, lean proteins, you might not even need one.
Okay.
And if you do choose to take one, look for those quality markers. Third-party testing seals like USP or NSF are important. They help ensure what's on the label is actually in the bottle. And maybe avoid multivitamins with excessively high mega doses of certain nutrients, or those senior blends packed with tons of extra ingredients that might just be filler, without providing optimal amounts of the key things you need. Remember, when it comes to supplements, smarter is usually better than just more.
Smarter is better than more. I like that. Okay, really helpful clarification on multivitamins. Now let's talk about a vitamin you mentioned earlier that, frankly, many seniors might not have even heard of, but you said plays a really important role, especially for bones and heart health. Vitamin K2. That was a new one for me.
Vitamin K2 is definitely a bit of a hidden gem. It gets much less attention than its cousin, vitamin K1.
K1 is for blood clotting, right?
Exactly. We know K1 is important for blood clotting, but vitamin K2 has a very specific and really important job, especially for older adults.
Okay, and what does K2 do?
Its main role is to act like a traffic cop for calcium in your body.
A traffic cop for calcium.
Yeah. It helps direct calcium into your bones and teeth, where you need it for strength and density. And perhaps even more importantly, it helps keep calcium out of places where it shouldn't be, like your arteries and other soft tissues.
Wait, so calcium can end up in the wrong places if K2 isn't doing its job?
That's exactly the concern. If you're taking calcium supplements or even vitamin D, which increases calcium absorption, but you don't have enough vitamin K2 on board, there is a potential risk that some of that calcium could get deposited in soft tissues, like the walls of your blood vessels.
Oh, wow.
And over time, that can contribute to the stiffening or calcification of arteries, which isn't good for blood pressure or overall heart disease risk.
Okay, that's definitely something to be aware of, especially since so many seniors focus on calcium D. So how do we make sure we're getting enough K2? Is it easy to get from food?
Well, that can be a little tricky. K2 isn't super abundant in the typical Western diet. Good sources include certain fermented foods like natto, which is fermented soybeans, popular in Japan, but not so much here.
Right. Certain types of aged cheeses like Gouda or Brie, and also meat and dairy products from animals that were grass-fed, because the animals convert K1 from grass into K2.
Okay, so not foods many people eat large amounts of regularly.
Generally not. And here's the problem. Most standard multivitamins don't contain any significant amount of vitamin K2.
Really?
Yeah. And many calcium supplements also leave it out. This is a pretty big oversight, I think, especially given how many seniors are taking calcium and vitamin D specifically for bone health.
So it seems like a missing piece then. So if people want to supplement with K2, what should they look for on the label?
The form that has the most research behind it, and the one that's generally recommended, is called MK7. MK-7.
MK7.
Right. It's a longer-acting form of K2. It stays active in your body longer, so it can provide more sustained support for both bone density and cardiovascular health. Some interesting studies, particularly out of Europe, have shown that taking vitamin D3 together with K2 as MK7 seems to lead to better bone strength and less calcium buildup in arteries compared to taking vitamin D alone. So they work together. What's a typical amount of K2, the MK7 form, to consider?
A common supplemental range is often between 90 to 200 micrograms. That's MCG, micrograms per day.
90 to 200 milligrams.
Yes. But, and this is really, really important, you absolutely must talk to your doctor before starting a vitamin K2 supplement, especially if you are taking any blood thinning medications like warfarin or Coumadin.
Because K affects clotting.
Precisely. Vitamin K can interfere with how those medications work, so medical supervision is essential. Don't just add K2 if you're on a blood thinner. But for many others, thinking of calcium, vitamin D3, and vitamin K2 as a team makes a lot of sense. They support each other, and taking just one or two might not give you the full benefit or could even create an imbalance.
Calcium, D3, K2, the bone and heart team.
Got it. Okay, this is all incredibly helpful. Now, we've touched on different vitamins and the importance of the form they come in. You mentioned natural versus synthetic earlier. Is there a real practical difference there for seniors? Oh, there absolutely is a significant difference. And it's something that, many seniors might not realize when they're looking at labels. The assumption that, say, all vitamin E is the same or all B12 is the same, it just isn't true. Especially when it comes to how well your body, particularly an older body, can actually absorb and use them.
Okay, can you give us a couple of clear examples to illustrate that?
Certainly. Let's take vitamin E. Natural vitamin E is usually listed on a supplement label as D-alpha tocopherol, the D form.
D-alpha, yeah.
The synthetic form is listed as DL-alpha tocopherol. See that little L in there?
Yeah.
That L signifies the synthetic version. And the issue is, synthetic vitamin E isn't absorbed or utilized as efficiently by your body. Some research suggests it might not offer the same level of health benefits as the natural DEED form. Think of it like the natural form is the right-handed molecule your body prefers, while the synthetic is a mix of left and right hands, making it less effective. Your body might only really use about half of the synthetic form.
Wow, only half. That's a big difference just from one letter on the label.
Yep.
What about other vitamins?
Vitamin B12 is another great example we touched on. The common, often cheaper form you see is cyanocobalamin.
Right, you mentioned that.
Your body actually has to convert cyanocobalamin into the active form, mostly in the liver. But as we age, or if there are other health issues, that conversion process might not be as efficient. The better option we discussed, methylcobalamin, is already in its active, ready-to-use form, no conversion needed.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Any others?
Folic acid versus folate is another one. Many people take folic acid, the synthetic form, for heart health or maybe anemia, but it's estimated that maybe up to 40% of the population has a common genetic variation, MTHFR, that makes it harder for their bodies to properly convert and utilize synthetic folic acid.
40%.
Yeah, it's quite common. In those cases, taking methylfolate, which is the natural active form of folate, is a much better choice. It bypasses that potential genetic bottleneck.
This is fascinating. So when we're standing there looking at those supplement bottles, what are the key things we should be paying attention to regarding the form of the vitamin or mineral?
It really comes down to being a bit of a label detective. It takes an extra minute, but it's worth it.
Okay.
First, look for those third-party testing seals we mentioned, USP, NSF, Consumer Lab approved. That gives you some assurance about quality and purity that what's claimed on the label is actually in the pill.
Right, the seals.
Then, specifically scan the supplement facts panel, the ingredient list. Look for those active, more bioavailable forms we've discussed. Methylcobalamin for D12, vitamin D3, not D2, MK7 for vitamin K2.
Okay.
For minerals like magnesium or zinc, look for chelated forms like glycinate, citrate, picolinate. That usually means they're bound to an amino acid, which helps absorption.
Chelated minerals. Got it.
Also, take a quick look at the other ingredients list. Try to choose supplements with fewer fillers, binders, artificial colors, or unnecessary additives. Don't just rely on the claims on the front of the bottle. The real details are always in that supplement facts panel on the back.
Such practical advice.
Mm-hmm.
Be a label detective. Okay, so we've covered which vitamins might be important and in what form. But you also mentioned earlier that when and how you take your supplements can really impact how well they work. Tell us more about timing and pairing.
Yes, this is a really important piece of the puzzle that often gets overlooked. You could be buying the best quality, most scientifically sound vitamins, but if you're not taking them in a way that helps your body actually absorb them properly, you might be, well, wasting some of their potential and your money.
Okay.
Think about it. Your body doesn't absorb all nutrients the same way. Some, like vitamin D, need fat to be absorbed well. Some minerals can actually compete with each other for absorption if you take them at the exact same time. And some vitamins are maybe better utilized by your body at certain times of the day.
Right. So can you give us some simple, easy-to-follow tips that seniors can actually use?
Absolutely. Let's make it practical. For vitamin D, like we said, take it with your largest meal of the day, ideally one that includes some healthy fats. That can significantly boost absorption.
Okay, D with a fatty meal.
If you're taking separate calcium and magnesium supplements, it's generally best to take them a few hours apart. Don't swallow them together. They can compete for absorption pathways in your gut.
Space out calcium and magnesium. Got it.
If your doctor has prescribed an iron supplement, and you should only take iron if prescribed after testing, it's often recommended to take it on an empty stomach, maybe with a little vitamin C, like orange juice, to enhance absorption.
Okay.
But iron on an empty stomach can cause nausea for some people. If that happens to you, taking it with a small amount of food is better than not taking it at all.
Makes sense. What about B vitamins?
B vitamins, especially B12, which can be energizing for some people, are usually best taken in the morning. Taking them late in the day could potentially interfere with sleep for sensitive individuals.
Morning for Bs.
Okay. Also, a general tip. If any supplement tends to make you feel a bit queasy or upsets your stomach, try taking it with food, even if it's not strictly required for absorption.
Good idea.
And finally, if you're taking several different supplements, consider spacing them out throughout the day instead of taking a whole handful all at once. It might be easier on your digestive system and could potentially help with overall absorption. And maybe the most basic tip of all, drink plenty of water throughout the day. Water is essential for transporting nutrients everywhere they need to go in your body.
These are all really helpful, practical tips.
Yeah.
Easy to put into practice. Okay, so to kind of bring this all together, how can seniors actually create a supplement plan that makes sense for them? It definitely sounds like it's more involved than just grabbing a bottle labeled senior.
You are absolutely right. It requires a bit more thought, and it really should be personalized. The very first step, and I can't stress this enough, is to focus on your diet.
Food first.
Always food first. Remember, supplements are meant to supplement, to fill in the nutritional gaps. They are not meant to replace healthy whole foods.
Right.
So take an honest look at what you're eating day to day. Are you consistently getting those leafy greens for magnesium and vitamin K1? Are you including dairy or maybe sardines or fortified milk for calcium and vitamin D? Getting enough lean meats, eggs, or beans for iron and B12? Eating a variety of colorful fruits and vegetables for antioxidants, vitamin C, other nutrients.
Be honest about your diet.
Yes, if you find your diet is consistently lacking in certain areas, that's where supplements might be most beneficial.
Okay, so food audit first. What's step 2?
Step 2 is to have that conversation with your doctor and specifically ask about getting some basic blood work done. Don't just guess based on how you feel because symptoms can be misleading or overlap.
Good test.
Yes. A simple blood test can check your levels of key nutrients like vitamin D, vitamin B12, maybe iron, sometimes magnesium, and folate or homocysteine. This gives you real data. And crucially, talk to your doctor about all the medications you're taking, both prescription and over-the-counter.
Why is that so important again?
Because, as we mentioned, many common medications can actually affect how your body absorbs certain nutrients, or they can deplete your levels of specific vitamins and minerals over time. Your doctor needs the full picture.
That makes so much sense. Your meds could be part of the reason you need a supplement.
Yeah.
Okay, so diet assessment, then doctor chat with blood work and med review. Then what?
Then, step 3 is to build a targeted plan, focusing on quality over quantity. Based on your diet, your blood test results, and your doctor's advice, you can choose a few well-selected supplements to address your specific needs.
Not just a random handful.
Exactly. Based on our discussion today, some of the key supplements that many seniors might consider discussing with their doctor include vitamin D3, especially if sun exposure is low, vitamin B12, likely the methylcobalamin form, for energy and nerve health, magnesium, probably in a well-absorbed form like glycinate, for muscle function, sleep, and nerve health. And vitamin K2, the MK7 form, particularly if you're taking calcium or vitamin D, to support both bone and heart health.
Okay, that's a good core list to discuss.
Omega-3 fatty acids from fish oil or algae are also often beneficial for brain, joint, and heart health, especially if you don't eat fatty fish like salmon regularly.
Right, omega-3s.
And as we discussed, if your overall diet really isn't great or your appetite is consistently low, then maybe a good quality low-dose senior multivitamin one that's third-party tested and uses bioavailable forms could serve as a helpful backup. But the core idea is targeted supplementation based on need. And remember, consistency, timing, taking with food when needed, all those things matter for making them work well.
It sounds like the goal isn't just about, avoiding getting sick, but about really feeling your best overall day to day.
Absolutely. That's the bigger picture. Getting the right nutrients absorbed in the right way can contribute to so much more than just preventing deficiency diseases. It can help you think more clearly, maintain your strength and balance, maybe reduce aches and pains, and even lift your overall mood and sense of well-being.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it's about helping you maintain your independence, your energy, your enjoyment of life, and your ability to stay active and engaged with the people and activities you love. If you're finding this conversation helpful, maybe think about who else in your life might benefit from hearing it and consider sharing it.
That's a great point. This has been incredibly helpful, really clearing up a lot of the fog around senior vitamins.
Yeah.
So to kind of wrap things up, what are the main takeaways you hope our listeners remember from this deep dive?
I think the most important things are be proactive about your own health. Don't be afraid to ask your doctor questions, dig a little deeper. Learn to read those supplement labels carefully. Be that label detective. And maybe most importantly, listen to your own body. It often gives you clues about what it might need. Pay attention.
Excellent advice. Be proactive, ask questions, read labels, and listen to your body. And if you, listening right now, found this deep dive into senior vitamins valuable, please do consider giving us a like and definitely subscribe so you don't miss our future discussions on staying strong and healthy as you age.
Yeah, we'd appreciate that.
In our next deep dive, we're actually going to explore some simple, practical daily habits you can incorporate to naturally boost your body's ability to absorb all these important vitamins and minerals from your food and supplements, building on what we touched on today. You won't want to miss that one.
That'd be a good one.
And finally, just leave you with one last thought to mull over. Getting the right nutrients isn't just about preventing illness or decline. It's really about actively empowering yourself to live a more vibrant, energetic, and engaged life, no matter your age.